Now we're all being recorded. Anne said that she could make it, so I don't know if she will be able to, or if she'll be joining us within a little bit, but it looks like we can at least get started.
Okay. So what do we need to do? Approve the minutes and then talk about some of the things she sent out on the agenda then, April?
Yeah, I believe that we do have a majority now. Barb Cooper has officially resigned from the commission. She had some things come up.
Oh, bummer.
So we've lost another member, kind of starting to bleed members now. Yeah. So yeah, you can go ahead with the approving the minutes and get started here.
I will nominate to approve the minutes from our last meeting, and I'll let someone else, I guess, second that then.
I can
I'll second that.
I would take that as approval then. Okay, so then on to the next item, I guess, since we've approved it.
So that is our membership, and that's, do you want to cover that topic, or?
Like I said, Barb has resigned from the commission, and so if you guys happen to know anybody who would be interested in joining the commission, we do have a few applications, but you know, we always welcome more applications because we've now no longer have Josh or Barb, and I'm not quite sure if Mark is still really an active member. He hasn't been to any meetings since early last year.
Okay.
So if you happen to know anybody that wants to help put signs around in yards, encourage them to apply.
So I've got a question. Does that mean it's just basically me, Jared, Elaine, and Anne?
Yeah.
So just us four?
Right now, yeah. There's Mark.
And
He hasn't officially resigned, but he has not come to any meetings since last year.
Okay. So we're supposed to have 7, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And when you say applications, is there a link or something we would share with some friends or others?
They can go onto the city website and under, I think under the government, it says commissions, and you can put in an application and put, I believe you can put what commissions you would be interested in serving on as well.
I'll spread the word.
Yep, I will too.
But you guys been doing excellent jobs with the signs. You should totally get your husband involved, Elaine. Have him drive around you did really good. You've got a bunch out.
You see, I did a bunch all at once. That's because
Yes.
I couldn't do anything before that.
Yes, I saw that.
With
We
the
got them all
saving
marked.
grace.
So, all right. So I guess now we'll turn the time over to Kenna.
Okay, sorry I'm not showing you my face. I don't have a monitor on a camera on my monitor, and so you see the side of my face if I turn it on. So, but thanks April and Tyler for getting this together kind of at the last minute. I appreciate that. So my name is Kenna Mathews. I am the Community Services Manager here at the City of Orem. And as part of my responsibilities is to work in neighborhoods to help revitalize them and improve those neighborhoods. I also run code enforcement for the city. And one of the things that we have been noticing or having issues with is, and Tyler and I have talked about this at length, but there's some pieces, the city owns about 900 pieces of property. Some of the properties are 2 square feet. Some are a lot larger than that. But we've identified some of the properties have not been for whatever reason, not being maintained. For mostly, sometimes we don't know about them, or just because, it's a challenge to keep up with everything we have to keep up with and keep our parks and our city buildings and everything pretty. And Tyler and his team do a wonderful job doing that. But we've been looking at ways that we could possibly take some of the pieces of these grounds that we own, and beautify them in a different way. And so one of the things that Tyler and I have been talking about, is potentially doing some community gardens on these pieces of property, and some other things. So there's what we call an innovation group. So it's a team of different employees from different departments that have come together to look at different things that the city's struggling with, and offer ideas. And so we've been having that. We've had a couple of meetings, right, Tyler? Now, and so we are. One of the things that everyone's agreed upon is potentially doing these community gardens. So we wanted to bring this to the Beautification Committee because you guys are looking, you want to keep our city beautiful and things. And so we wanted to kind of let you know what we're thinking. And after we talk about it, then we want to invite you on a tour that we have planned with the city council, we think on August 22nd. It's not on the calendar yet, or it's not on the agenda yet, but we think that's when it's going to be. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But I've asked Hilary Whittaker. She is, I don't know her official title, I always forget what it is, but she works for Community Action Services, and she runs a community garden program for them. She works in Provo City, Spanish Fork City, and she's great. And she presented to the Orem Neighborhood Commission, and they're on board with this. And so we wanted just to tell you kind of what we're looking at partnering with community action on and some of these pieces of property in our community. So I just invited her to give a short presentation on what that might look like, what kind of participation we would need. And then after that, we can kind of have a discussion. You can ask questions, and then kind of where we're going with this. So does that sound good to everybody? And Tyler, do you want to add anything? Did I get that? Everything we needed? Okay. All right. So I'll turn the time over to Hilary to give her presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Kenna. Hi, everyone. So yeah, my name is Hilary Whittaker. I am the Community Garden Manager with Community Action. I started working there in 2020, and they asked me to be a part of this program as well, from volunteers. And I've really just fallen in love with the whole program. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Okay. All right. So this is, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is my presentation. So for those of you who don't know who Community Action is, we are a food bank, and also have other wraparound services. We've been there since 1967. Our mission is to, it's dedicated to fostering self-reliance in individuals, families, and communities. This is who I am. I am a 2022 USU Extension Master Gardener graduate, and that got me very excited about the community gardens and about bringing fresh and local produce into homes throughout Utah County. So some of the importance about the community gardens. So community gardeners will eat 37.5% more fruits and vegetables than non-gardeners. A common reason for garden participation is access to fresh food, health benefits, and to enjoy nature. Community gardens can lower household food insecurity concerns by up to 90%. Community gardeners can save between $75 to $380 per year on their food budgets, and that amount might be more because of the higher rising costs of food. And 64% of U.S. community gardeners say that they do it for the social benefits and to be part of the community. So like Kenna was saying, Community Action does have 5 gardens. We have 4 that are in Provo. Those ones have been established for a couple years. And then we just opened Spanish Fork Garden in April of this year. We currently have 120 individual plots, 8 communal plots, and the communal plots is where multiple families, they plan out what they're going to grow together, they plant everything together, they harvest together, they work together. So they're able to grow more on a much bigger scale, but they share everything. We do have 12 community plots, and that number is actually growing. Anytime somebody drops out of the garden and there is a plot that's open, we open it up to the gardeners who are already there if they want to get a second plot, or we keep all of that stuff and it goes back into the local food banks. So there's just a couple key points on what you would want to do to get started. The first is to choose the site, make sure that there's an interest for that site. Step 2 is make sure that you have a good planning committee. You want to have people who are interested in being gardeners and who are good community contacts with the city and local businesses. The community garden really runs well when there's lots of participation, not just from the people who are growing, but from businesses and neighbors and people like that. Step 3 is the outreach and fundraising. So building a garden can cost between $10,000 to $15,000. It just depends on how much assistance you get from local companies or from the city, just donations, things like that. Step 4, you build the garden boxes and you make sure that there's space for relaxing, make sure that you have a safe place for tools so that tools aren't just left out and about. Next, you have to organize the garden. So you need to have an application. It's really important that when you do have the community garden, you still have people sign the things like waivers for safety reasons. So you know who's also there so that everyone kind of gets comfortable name by name basis. And then from there, you open the garden, you assign the plots, you start building your volunteer team, and you have a grand opening. So this shows the breakdown of the cost it was for the Spanish Fork Garden. And so there were multiple things that were donated. And so we're just under $15,000. And so this was for a garden that was 35 feet by 235 feet. And we put in, I think, 75 garden boxes. So that cost will vary depending on how big the garden is. So this is my favorite part about the garden is not only that you have enough for yourself, but you have enough that you are able to give out. And so we always recommend people, if they have too much of something, to either donate it to a neighbor or a friend or to donate it to the food bank. And so this was from our Spanish Fork plot. And this all went over to Tabitha's Way because it's in Spanish Fork and we wanted to help out with that. And then I'm going to open up this link. Hopefully it works. And this will show you in Provo. Maybe.
Oh, good. It works this time, maybe.
I know. I'm like, I really hope it does because it's a great video. And I know it's gonna be a lovely journey. So that was just one day's worth of people's extra, and it was, you know, like 35 pounds, but it was massive zucchinis and cucumbers and just beautiful things that we were able to share. So that's basically all my stuff. If anybody has any questions, comments, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. maybe.
So who pays for the water for this?
Good question. So with our plots in Provo, or our gardens in Provo and Spanish Fork, the city actually donates the water and the land. And so we have the tool, we start gathering tools. We have tons of seeds that have been donated. So the city is helping with that. And that's something that, we can discuss if there's multiple gardens, does it make sense to maybe have a higher plot, rental fee to help go towards that. That stuff will kind of depend as the garden's built, and whatever the city or whoever owns the land decides.
So is there a rental fee for the plots then?
We do. So we do charge a $20 rental fee. If anybody can't pay that, we will always waive it. But what it does, it makes people feel more like they're signing up for a program. A lot of people, even though it's $20, they tend to take care of their plots a lot better. They understand that there's a lot of people who want to be a part of the program. And so for the most part, everyone is okay with it. And all of that goes back into either buying topsoil or replacing drip lines or buying tools if they're broken. There's, some grants that can help out with different things, but a lot of it is really just community help.
And there's like a community garden over by Orem Community. What is that?
So that one's through IHC. That one's a separate one. I'm not sure, how they run their program. But I do know for us, we always try to give any family that is low income first priority. But there's normally plenty of space and plenty to do that, we haven't, this has been the first year actually that we've had to turn away people because we filled up, which is really cool. When I first started, the video that you just watched 2 years ago, there was one person in that garden, and this year, every plot is full. And so the need is there, and the excitement to grow things and to be able to bring in your own fresh produce. I think people are understanding and wanting to be more a part of it.
Yeah, so the Intermountain Healthcare one is actually run by Intermountain Healthcare. So their volunteer coordinator at Orem Community Hospital runs that garden. They've already offered to do all of our signage if we do gardens. So they would be part of that program as well. So,
Very cool.
Yeah. Any other questions for Hilary?
Could you walk me through this Spanish Fork example? So Spanish Fork is new. How did it go from let's do it to, step 6 there where now we got a garden? So what did that look like? How long?
Great question. So it was about a year process. So and a lot of that was we needed volunteer help to get some of the big stuff out of the way. We started talking to them, I want to say like August of last year, maybe a little bit earlier than that. We went out there, we had to mark everything off, make sure that we weren't going to hit anything if we were pounding in stakes or anything like that. Then we started actually going around and fundraising. So we started coming up with different tiers where people could donate like $150 to build a garden box, and then we put a plaque they got to name the plot so that it was beneficial to the business, but it was also helping us. So then we just had multiple volunteer days where we built the items. So we used cinder blocks that have little grooves in it that you can just put the wood right down. So it made it really simple. We made it a learning opportunity. So we opened it up to anybody who wanted to come to learn how to build a garden box. And then honestly, it's just been like piece by piece by piece. It was, you truly start with the land, and then you start imagining it, where you just start planning it out. So, we mapped it out. We were like, okay, we're going to fit, I think 15 beds up here that are a little bit bigger, and those are going to go for Tabitha's Way, and the library has a learning garden there. And then the rest we're going to rent out to individuals and families. We talked to different companies about getting chip drop in so that we can put wood chips down to help keep the weeds down. Before that, we even laid out a lot of cardboard, so we'd try to kill all the grass and the weeds because we want to make it look nice, and built the fence. So there's just little pieces that we had to do, and fundraising money. And then by the time we had the opening day, we had maybe 3 plots available, and they filled up instantly. So it was a very, very fun process to be a part of, to see it happen from the ground up. And so with having a good committee, other people who are involved, is super important, so that it's not just falling on one person, that people understand that you want it to be a destination. You want people to want to spend time there, whether they're reading a book or they're just looking at, the different things that are happening. So we worked on making it a spot for everybody.
And how about the advertising or getting the word out for those volunteers and others? What tools have you used that helped kind of promote that?
Yeah. So a lot of I'm trying to think what they would be called, the city pages where, for Provo, it's the Provo Forward page. They have small Facebook pages that will share out information like that, posting it through community actions, social media. We did flyers at the library. So we just shared information that way. Also, by having people who had signed up, people who were interested in participating in the garden, we would send out all the volunteer information to them as well. So one thing that's good is when you're figuring out your spaces, it's important to know, are people going to use the space? So there's different ways you can do that. A QR code at the location, or a survey that you send out to the neighborhood to find out who's interested, and that will collect information. Once you know that people are interested, if you choose that location, you have a whole list of people in the area who wants to be a part of the garden. And so you can send out volunteer information or join our committee type stuff to those people because they've already said that they're interested.
I'm thinking of, well, Tyler might laugh at this. There's a lady that I dropped off a sign that I could already imagine that's very passionate about this if given that opportunity. But I personally, I'm a big believer in things like this. In fact, I met with my uncle who lives up in West Valley, and they have not this type of a program, but they do. It's called My Hometown, and the goal there was to bring life back to the city. And they've got a lot that goes on through the city, kind of helps sponsor it, and then it's a group of people, just community members that want to make a difference. So similar concept.
Yeah, and it took, with COVID, it kind of took it out, which was very surprising because you would think, that's time outside, separate, you can learn, you can grow. And so now we're really just building it up. And I really think with the rising food costs, people are more excited about this. They want to be able to learn these things. They want to be able to provide, for their families where they can save a little bit of money too.
So who's going to choose where these plots are? Is
That
it under the neighborhood committees,
Yeah.
the neighborhood commissions or whatever they're called?
Yeah, so right now, this innovation team has identified about, I believe, 4 or 5 different properties that might be good for this. And so one of the things that we want to do is we want to narrow that down to 2 or 3 properties. There's some things, we went and met with the city manager last week about this. He wanted us to look at a different property, so we're still kind of looking. But one of our goals is to bring you guys, along with the Orem Neighborhood Commission and the City Council, I think on August 22nd, we're going to go on a little tour. We want to go tour some of the Provo Gardens. They kind of have done the similar thing where they've taken property they own that they're either sitting on or holding and turn them into these community gardens. So show you those gardens. And then also show you some of the properties that they've identified. And I don't know exactly what those are going to be. I know the one that we need to talk about some parking issues. We're looking at a property on 800 East and 800 North, just kitty corner from Harmon's. It's already fenced or mostly fenced on 3 sides. So it makes kind of a perfect, it's just, we have a little parking issue there that we need to work through with a surrounding business. But that's kind of what, identifying the ones that make sense to the city. There's also some other ideas. There's an idea to have like a botanical garden that UVU would run, partnering with UVU to do a botanical garden near UVU somewhere. They're also talking about like doing on these super small pieces, doing some kind of art or some kind of, small landscaping that doesn't require any maintenance, maybe a bench, those kind of things. So this team is really trying to identify things that would be helpful to beautify the city. But the first thing, we're kind of going down this road with the community gardens because we think it's low-hanging fruit, something that we could do fairly quickly by next summer. And we have a lot of support for it, we seem to, in the neighborhoods. Probably wherever we identify those pieces, you guys can help us do that when we go on this tour. Then we would send out a community survey in that neighborhood to see what if they're wanting that, what they would like about that kind of thing. So that's kind of, so if you guys, this is a good idea. We just wanted to have your buy off too, because you guys are focused on keeping our city beautiful. So that's kind of why we're here today. And then we want to invite you to come on that tour with us. We'll be introducing this to the city council the day that we go on the tour as well. So that's kind of where we're at.
That sounds great.
So
Yeah, my support. I
Okay.
this. I don't know. Elaine, it sounds like you've bought in or would like to see more, do more.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting.
Then how about Sean? I know you stay on mute.
No, I think it's a great idea. The one comment I was going to make is on the smaller areas that was mentioned that probably aren't big enough for these gardens that the city is trying to identify as far as things they can do. And I don't know if I'm sure the city already has ideas, but I thought maybe that could be put out to the city or the citizens of the city to maybe see if they want to volunteer to adopt one of those spots, and maybe if they're given the tools or the things necessary to fix up that little spot. If it's a small area, maybe they can do that, and then they can get recognized by the city. I don't know. That was just an idea. I think it was mentioned that like putting a park bench or something, or just some decorative rock. But I like that idea, and I was curious. Is there a map that we can access that shows all of these different locations throughout the city?
Yeah,
I had the
I
same
can go for Kenna. I was like, not
Say it
mine.
again.
Yeah, there's not right now. We don't have it mapped out with those locations yet, but we can give you the addresses to the ones in Provo if you want those.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's I mean, I love it. I like that because there's a lot of places that I see when I'm driving around of just little areas that are just weeds, and I think it would be great to make use of the land. So I'm all in on that.
All right.
Yeah, and Kenna, I just thought of an idea for some of your really small spots.
Uh-huh.
You could see if anybody is interested in just doing like the native gardens. Just do only like Utah native plants, and then it'll be super, super water wise. And then it's great for all of the local pollinating bugs that we want to keep here. So that might be something too.
That's great. I'll bring those ideas up. So Carson Hardy, who's a management analyst for the city, he's headed up this team. He's just out of town today, so that's why he's not with us. So Tyler and I will bring those back to the committee as some other ideas, because we are looking and excited about this. I think this is going to be a fun project within our city. Well, we appreciate your time today. I know, and I appreciate Hilary being here. I know April hurried and quickly put this together for us, so I appreciate her doing that. But if you have any other ideas or questions, April or Tyler can give you my email or Carson's email and send those to us, or can send them to Tyler and he can send those over to us. So I appreciate your time today. And I've seen some of your signs around and you're doing a good job with the ones you're picking. So thank you. You help me in code enforcement too, because people see that people are trying, and so we hope that other people will try as well. But thank you.
You bet.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.
See ya.
See you, Hilary. We can, so what else do we have on our list there? I should pull it back up.
Well, I think of any other items of business. Next meeting.
Quickly, do we need to do anything with Barb out? Because she was taking care of the
She
businesses for
actually
this
got all of the business signs, beautification signs out already.
Oh, good. Okay.
So she got that all done. So, well, once we get the holiday signs, which will be maybe mid-October, early November, we won't need to worry about any business signs going out.
Okay. And then I guess the actions are if we can help promote trying to get some additional folks to support us on the committee or the commission. And I think I saw one link. If you could put that in your email summary, April, if you could do that, so we know where to forward folks for signing up. And then I love the idea of the gardens, and I know that it'll take a lot more than this group. We need some more help, of course, but I think there'd be some other passionate people if we gave them the right opportunity. So that's kind of exciting. I don't have anything else. And Tyler, do you have everything for the newsletter for this month? And then the others, was Barb on one of the lists for something coming up? Or
I did get your submittal, Jared, for August. Joshua Doughty is the one for September. I don't know when our next meeting is. Maybe we can address that in the next meeting. But yeah, where he's been MIA for over a year, we probably need to look at that and get some new assignments.
Yeah.
okay.
He officially resigned earlier this year.
Yeah.
He had some family issues come up.
Okay.
Mark is out. He's not the one that we haven't heard from yet. Or sorry, Josh.
Yeah, Josh is out. He resigned earlier this year. And
Mark,
then Barb resigned as well.
Okay. So yeah, I'm good on the newsletter up to the end of August. We'll need to have someone take on September, October, November, and December.
Okay.
I was doing, because I've got an probably
You did one in May for spring planting.
right. I could do November and do like a winterizing article. winterizing your yards and your, if we want to do that in November, or we could do it in October too.
Which would you prefer?
Let's do October. I'll do that.
Okay, so Elaine, you'll take care of October. Sean, do you mind doing September, and then I'll finish up November unless we get some others in?
I can do that. That's fine.
Okay. All right. So there's our new schedule then, Tyler.
Okay, I've got Sean down for September and Elaine in October.
And then I'll take November.
Okay, I'll put that in there.
And then after that, I guess someone will confirm the 22nd then for this with the community.
Yeah, as
Okay.
soon as we get confirmation on the agenda, I'll make sure you guys know what time it is and try to get some particulars from Kenna.
I know I'm going to be out if it is the 22nd, but I can maybe send someone that goes, hey, this is pretty cool. I could do that. And hopefully, Elaine, you'll be up running at that point.
Yep.
In a few
I should
not
be.
quite.
I should be.
Okay.
So when do we want to meet next? The end of October? Pick up our signs and
Yeah, I will coordinate. Tyler and I will coordinate with Pete on getting the holiday signs, and we'll try to get those by the end of October, and we can meet then if you want to do that.
Okay, that'll work. Like the 23rd or 30th? Is that what you're thinking?
Let's go for the 23rd. That way,
Okay.
those who are prepping for Halloween can continue to prep for Halloween.
Okay. All right. Cool. Anything else that we should be thinking about that we're not?
Not that I can think of. That's about
All
it.
right. Well, let's close this meeting then.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you guys
How do
for
we
joining
do?
it.
We second it?
I'll second it.
All right.
Okay,
Good to see
bye-bye.
you all.
See you guys.
Bye.